大家好.
Hello, everyone. This is Sarah reporting back on Water Wednesdays. So, I'm currently in Mexico City. I did a trip this morning with my Sphinx cat, Mo, the co host of this radio podcast. Mo is actually strolling around here in the rooms. I rented a glamping experience for her. I felt like she wanted some containment. It's been so fun. And so it was her, the driver, and I who drove from San Miguel to Mexico City this morning, spending 2 nights here, and then I'm going to be going to Oaxaca for a ceremony. So connecting with water is the theme of the day of Water Wednesdays. And I knew that I needed to record this episode because it's on Wednesday and I didn't want the day to go by. So I started recording in a cafe somewhere in Condesa on the street, a beautiful spot. And I kept on losing focus. And of course, it made sense because I was in a coffee shop, so there were people. I ran into someone that I knew. Um, but the theme was water. So I was so humbled. I was so humbled by the lessons that I got because I was trying to stay in the flow. And then what I kept on saying is like, many parts of me want to kind of delete this episode because I'm not making any sense. But I'm like, yeah, but be water. What does that look like? So I brought in this archetype that I like to play with, my cosmic mermaid. And what the cosmic mermaid tells me is that you're actually always in the sea of consciousness. You're always swimming. And that's the water, the spiritual water that we get from the stars. And then we get like the water from our water element here on this plane. And so, like, my point was constantly like in that episode that I recorded that I just like it became a project of its own of understanding, hey, like, how does water adapt to this? Because I don't want to be censoring anything and I don't want to be deleting. I don't like making a video and deleting it and then making it again. Like, I prefer just going live and adjusting to the moment, adjusting to like the different messages. Like, for example, Mao just came and started purring next to me. That's part of the episode. Impromptu. And so these teachings really humbled me of I kept on losing focus. I would get out of flow and then I would say in the episode, I'd be like, here, like, I'm opening up to the element of water where it's really about a surrender. It's like this water and gravity, it just goes back down, and bringing in the reference of our batteries, our battery pack. Those are the kidneys. The kidneys are the designated organ of our water element, and they hold fear and they also hold willpower. So, here, a thing that's very interesting to me is how do we live a more watery life? And if we go back to the term of the spiritual waters, like, what would that look like? Us being fully hydrated spiritually. And really, the main sponsor of this Water Wednesdays is Bruce Lee, where he brings in the greatness of water into his teachings. He teaches us how to become a dragon, a shape shifting dragon. We shape shift into whatever the moment is asking. So I would love us to take a moment and really just connect with that frequency of water. H2O, baby. H2O. And notice how your blood actually has water and how digestion requires water, sweat, tears. It's a universal solvent. Water is a universal solvent. So my question to you is, how can your conscious awareness quench your thirst? How can fear be transformed into willpower? How can water steam the dumplings? It's just really getting to know all these versions of water, because that opens us to a state of flow. That's the real mastery that we're looking for. The one where we can adapt to the moment in any way, shape, or form that it asks from us. And since we have so much water in our system, now the next step is to focus on our psychic water, our psyche, the unconscious, the dark sea of our psyches. You know, when they say Jesus walks on water, I mean, Jesus learned how to navigate and not be consumed by his emotions, walking on water. Water is our emotions. And another thing that I want to bring in here is the focus on a relationship, the focus on relationship in general with life, relationship with ourselves. And what does that mean? Well, that means double clicking into this folder of our life and really getting to see the inner space, who we are, what we're composed of, all of the different parts of us. And that's going to inner space, it's inner journeying. Water is a universal solvent. Water will take us. Water is the carrier of love. My mom once asked a dear, wonderful friend of mine, who's like a human version of a wolf, um, so Stefan, what would you say love is? And then just kind of like sinks into presence and says, I mean, if water isn't love, then I don't know what love is. And bringing in also Masaru Emoto, The Hidden Messages in Water, that's referring to how our frequency is actually changing the water crystals. So what I do now is I really put my awareness in my hands as I'm holding the glass or holding the mug. And I transmit all the love that I possibly can into that water, because water is alive and I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful that we have such a wise teacher living among us, which is water, the the waterfall that brings silence internally, the lake, the navigation, the mermaids, the pirates, all of it. It's a language in itself. And on Water Wednesdays, we will be focusing on themes, topics around relationships, around reflections, living in a room of smoky mirrors, of love, connection, flow, as well as the ministers of power, which are the kidneys. The ministers of power are in charge of, they're a powerhouse, they're a battery pack, right? So those guys, those kidneys need to be fully nourished. It is said that we are born with a specific a specific amount of Jing. Jing is essence. Essence is stored in the kidneys. We're born with a specific amount of Jing essence. And that gets depleted. The more that we work our bums off, that starts getting depleted. Here, the idea of inner alchemy is that it's negentropy instead of entropy. So we work with the powers of fire and water, of alchemizing, of the polarities of the father and mother. So water is a very feminine element. It's so receptive. It takes the shape of the glass, it takes the shape of the jar, it takes the shape of the valley, the waterfall. It adapts to anything. It can pierce through rocks and mountains. And one thing that I would like to leave you with is start connecting with water as if it's your grandmother. That's what I've been doing. Connect with water as if it's your grandmother. Honor her like it's your grandmother. When you turn on the tap, your grandmother is speaking. Having this very ritualistic, awake, juicy approach to living. Let's take care of our bodies by remembering that our battery pack needs to stay powerful, or that we need to plug in and relax, rest our bodies. It's like going back to a still lake. The water is just resting. And the reason why relationships are so relevant here is because I'll give it to you in a little bit of a cryptic messaging. When you look into the person's eyes, the person in front of you, that person's eyes, if you are sharp enough, you can see that right there on their eyeball, their pupil, the whole thing, the retina, all of it. You see yourself. It's a reflection of you. And I find that to be the biggest joke ever. It's so clear just how it's an illusion to think that we're separate from each other. And that for me is very trippy. You look into the other person's eyes and you actually see yourself. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. So relationships are invisible channels that we get to develop. And having those channels clear is a very powerful way for us to be able to contribute to life in a spontaneous way. So when we get to be the flexibility and adaptability of water, we adapt to any situation. Nothing becomes a problem. And what I noticed today from after recording that first episode, I'm like, should I actually leave Water Wednesdays without any voice? Because I'm actually feeling the importance of silence and of humbling my tongue in order to not need to fill in the blanks with spoken words. But I mean, now I'm cozy. Now I'm back in my glamping site, and it's like this beautiful uh Inipi style, Temascal style, flying saucer style Airbnb home. And my crazy alien cat is here with me. So, and I'm also feeling the rain. So I feel I'm in a space of wanting to share something sacred. When I was in the cafe, it was still sacred, but like the nervous system needs to be in a certain frequency for it to go deep enough. And my sincerity is my offering here, because I'm so grateful that you are here. I'm so grateful that you're alive, and I'm so grateful to be connected. And Water Wednesdays, that's where it's at. Relationships, seeing ourselves in the other, seeing the importance of that golden rule of treat others how you want to be treated. But like, just because knowing that the other person is also yourself, it's just like everyone becomes part of the community of the mind, of the heart. And living that way is what prosperity is. Because for me, I'm all about designing your most prosperous life. And I'm so grateful because I 100,000% believe now that I'm living my most prosperous life. And I mean, materially, that's gonna change. I mean, now I'm living in a duplex in a loft, myself with my cat. But when I have my family, that's gonna change. But that's not relevant to my prosperity nor my wealth. My real wealth is me being aligned with how I feel, say, act, and speak, to keep on offering to life what I was offered. So the humility that I learned with water is something that I'm seeing as also very sensual. It's very seductive. Emotions can be very seductive as well. And that's what the Odyssey is it called? Um with the sirens and how they would seduce the fishermen, the boatmen, and then they would take them in and they would devour them. And um so I feel that, that's a really good point. Like, emotions can be very hard to allow to flow, but that's where the mastery is. It's emotional alchemy. And that another great way to grow from that is in relationships. So I pray that your kidneys are so healthy and so happy. And I pray that you really start connecting with them, getting to know them. Because a good system, a healthy system, is one that is in harmony. It's not one that has trained the hardest. It's not one that looks the best. It's one that's in harmony. And harmony is going to look different for each and every single one of us. But in community, everything changes, because then we get a platform to share, because we're sharing, because we're on a mission together. And so grateful for water. Like, let's all just be waters, my friends. 慢慢吃. See you next time. Oh, and just a little update. Tomorrow is Follow Your Tao Corner. I co-host it with my friend partner Florence, on Red Note, 小红书. So uh, I'll see you there. I'll see you there. I'll link the group link below the episode. And I'm so grateful to be having this water conversation with you. And I really hope that you start learning the deepest and most beautiful humility that water can teach us. It's following the patterns of love, of life, of beauty, of design. And that's what we are. All right. Once again, 慢慢吃.